Hello, hello, hello. Hello, everyone. Sue, Michelle, Liz, Cheryl, Adrian, Dell, Amelia, Kylie, hello. Oh, you're all on the ball tonight. You're all here ready to go. Yeah, let's see how we go tonight. Everything's working fine so far. So everyone had a nice week, a good week. I've managed to get a few projects moved along, tried to get a couple finished. Hi, Veronica. Hi, Gwen. And a few more started, a few tests that did and didn't work. I'll show you later. A few new projects. Hi, Carol. Hi, Bronwyn. Yeah, it's been quite a stitchy week. So spring is still teasing us, and I'm reminded that tomorrow is the official start of spring. Hi, Caroline. Hi, Shelley. So that's nice. The daffodils are blooming, not in my garden, unfortunately, but in the neighbours. I don't have a single flower in my garden. I actually had to go and pinch some from the neighbours to do a photo shoot this week. But anyway, hopefully soon they'll start to shoot. I actually spent a whole day in the garden Sunday. My body knows it. I'm digging out one whole section, redoing it. The weeds have just gotten the better of me. Hi, Karen. Hi, Jeanette. Hi, Fiona. Hi, at work. Okay, just sneaking in. Hi, Chris. And Janie. Hi. Yes, so it's I think there'll be another day in the garden this weekend. It's meant to be a beautiful, perfect Father's Day weather, I believe. So it might be some more gardening after we have a little Father's Day family get together. Hi, Lynn. Hi, Jenny. You'll notice, yes, our lottery jar is there. So you're all going there. Hi, Joe. Joe's remembered. So you're all going in the lottery jar there. Tonight I decided, and I don't know if they're any of use to you, but I've been doing the Allen hair with our paper pack, with the R9 pack with the applique and the EPP. And I'm not going to demonstrate any more of that, and I'm probably not going to make any more in that. Oh, that's why you popped in, Fiona. Very good. Hi, Amelia. Hi, Marilyn. So I've decided that whoever I draw tonight gets the leftovers of my paper pack. So, that was like $50 to $45 worth or something. And it's got a bit of applique paper in there. So for the bits that I've already used, that you'll be sure, you can just trace the shapes on the applique paper. So that's going to be the prize tonight. Otherwise, I'm going to have a part pack sitting here. So comment as much as you like to get lots of chances in the draw. I still haven't really worked out if you do more than one comment, if you get more than one bubble. I think you do, because I think every time you comment, another one falls in. Yep, so Amelia, you just dropped in a second time. Hi, Leanne. Now, was it your birthday this week, or was it Leanne Herman's? I can't remember which one I saw. I think it was yours, Leanne. Happy birthday this week. Yeah, it does look full already. It's going to get really very squishy by the end. That's okay. Okay, so that's the prize tonight, is the leftover paper pack for Owl and Bird block of the month. Yeah, and even if you're not even making the quilt, you can just use the pieces in there to make all different blocks, and it'd be a good play with it, a good chance to try it. So tonight, hi Tina, hi Denise. Tonight, I've got a heap of new stuff that came into the shop. Joe's packed up for me as it came in. She gave them to me to show you. And also I've got a couple of little demos just on things that I've been making and working on this week. So while I finish them off, I thought I might as well do it on camera, and then you get to see how I do it and maybe pick up a couple of hints and tips. Who knows? It was yours, Leanne. Yes, good. Thank you. Happy birthday. Hope you had a nice day. For those of you in Adelaide wondering, I know there's people messaging all the time. Tickets aren't open yet. I've got to work out the rest of the costings first. Hi, Renee. But the deposit's paid and the venue's locked in, so that's good. It looks like an amazing venue. Really large, lots of light, lots of parking, plenty of space. So yes, that's locked in. I also wondered today, how many have we got some from Brisbane watching coming on here? I'm not quite sure, because I'm actually coming up to Brisbane in end of January to go on a cruise with the girls, but I might have a couple of spare days, and I just wondered if anyone wanted to stitch up there. But anyway, I won't put that out there just yet, but it's a possibility. I know I've been asked many times before, but yeah, anyway, it's just a little teaser there. That's a possibility. Hi, Wendy. Hi, Sue. Janie, I need help. I'm trying to do the Simply Charm Christmas quilt from last year, and those damn flying geese are doing my head in. Oh, I don't have any videos on that. I'd have to look back to see how I did them. Was it 4-in-1 flying geese? I think it was 4-in-1 flying geese. If it is, maybe next week I've got step-by-step samples of those somewhere. So maybe I can bring them on next week. I'm pretty sure I probably did do a 4-in-1 method rather than a 2-in-1 method. So I'll bring my step-by-steps next week and show you that, Janie, if you can't follow the instructions. Okay. Too late you have, what about, too late I have already told you about it. I know, but it was just a suggestion. It's just putting it out there just in case. There's nothing definite, and I actually haven't even told my girls yet, so they might not be happy about it either. But that's okay. Okay, so let's get on with it. Let's start working through what Joe's given me that came in today. Oh no, first of all, remember last week I told you that I was getting all the new colours in the Wonderfill Deco Bobs, except not in bobbins, just in spools. And this is so I can choose a new set of colours to get a special box made of bobbins of all the blending colours that I like for EPP and applique. So this is our tubes at the moment of the Wonderfill. So we just put them in these little tubes, but they've just brought out a whole heap new colours. And did you see? Whoops, Matilda's here, so now she knows about my business plans during our holiday. Whoops. Anyway, so I can choose and get them made up in my own little box set. I think I'm working with Jen on that from Wonderfill. So isn't this is pretty special. I actually thought I was getting the full set, but it's just the full set of all the new colours. So it actually doesn't include spools of those ones. And if you saw on Instagram during the week, remember last week I had my big spool of silver that I've been using for years. Well, I ran out during the week. It's all gone. So I definitely will be ordering some spools of the silver because I work a lot, mostly in that colour. In fact, it's all I've used for months because I'm too lazy to get up. Oh, that and a red. Too lazy to get up and find my tube if it's not right next to me. So I've just kept using silver. And of course, if you use the proper stitch, then you don't see it anyway. It works well anyway. So that was my little surprise this week. I mean, I bought them, I paid for it, but it's look at that colour. Isn't it just so nice to have that colour? Actually, I'm going to put them. I'm going to put the overhead on, so just so you can see the colours. Look at that. Isn't that just gorgeous? I just love colour. There's something about colour, whether it's threads or fabrics or what. I can get these sets just like one of every colour. If you want a full set for yourself, I can get them in for you. But I'm going to curate my own pack in bobbins, in the little bobbins, because it'll be less expensive and it'll just be all the blending colours that I use mostly. But if you really wanted to splurge and get the full pack, which also can be used in your machine for really fine, dense quilting or in your bobbin, then I'm quite happy to order those in for you. So I can do that. How much are they for those threads? I don't know, Fiona. I'll have to look it up. I think they were going to be about $2.99 for the set, I think she said, or it might have been $200. No, I think it was $2.99 for the set, but I'd have to look that up. But aren't they nice? They're very, very delicious. Okay, so they're mine. You can't have those because I'm going to use those. Let's get them out of the way for now. All right, I said I was going to show you what's come in. Now, some of these aren't new. They're just back in stock. So we've finally got all our Bione patterns restocked. So this one is Take a Stand. And I'm just trying to see. Oh, okay. Jo collected up all the samples to send home for me. But she didn't get this one. Actually, we might not have this one made as a sample. We need that one made up as a sample, don't we? All right, I might talk to someone about that. So that's Take a Stand. That's it's a By Annie pattern, and you might have seen Chula Pink show that on one of her lives. So oh yes, they would be good bobbins and machine embroidery. That's true, Tina. So the Take a Stand, when it stands up, it flips open and all your little goodies hang in the side here. I think, yeah, I think Chula's shown one of those before out of, although this is in her fabrics. So that's one anyway. Where am I going to put these that Bentley doesn't run away with them? Every Day, Every Way. So that is, it's very similar to the bag that I showed you a couple of weeks ago. What was it called? It was a bit bigger though. No sample for Take a Stand. No, you're right, Joe. Okay, we need to fix that issue, don't we? Anyone interested in making it with you, Amelia? Feel free. Hi, Maxine. I'm trying to think what the bag was. The big bag, the bigger bag. No, not the airplane bag. The By Annie one, Joe. The one that's Bronwyn Smith. Can I use machine embroidery threads for applique? There's no reason why. The ultimate carry bag. Thank you, Tina. That was it. It was the ultimate carry bag, but it's just a slightly smaller version of the ultimate carry bag, and it's designed as like a nappy bag, diaper bag for them. But yeah, and it comes with a little change mat in there as well in the pattern. So that's a new one in. I don't think we've had that one before because we don't have a sample of that either. We might need a few sample makers. Double zip. Now this is my very favorite one, but there's a new version which gives you a couple of different sizes, I think. And this was one of our original versions. We had two made for us for our beautiful sample angels. We do have a little group of sample angels that make samples for us. I haven't used them for a long time. Hi, Steph. Bennett Club 1-0. Okay. Okay. Hi, Michelle. So this, the other one is one that I use all the time. In fact, it's out there with all my stuff in it. So this is the double zip bag. So you just pull it open like that. And you open it up, and on the inside it's got little mesh pockets here and mesh pockets there. I use this to stick my needles in and pins, so I fill that with pins and needles. And then it's got another pocket here and another mesh pocket here. This is my bag's actually got my perfect circles in it, so it's the When I've Got Nothing Else to Do project, and they're all just little different shaped circles. One day I've probably got about 10,000 of them. One day I'll make it into a quilt. And this is chockers full of empty glue pen refills, so the hundreds that I've been through. And yeah, all other things in it. But anyway, that is the double zip bag. I use that heaps. It's a really nice, good bag. And that one was done in Tim Holtz fabrics. You might still have some of that fabric, I'm not sure. And then the extra wide bag zippers by Annie's, or we've got a couple of other brands now in lots and lots of colours. And so the double zip gear bag is that one. Next, quick zip cases. These are really great little zipper pouches. Had these for a long time, but they come together really quickly, and they're just great little pencil cases. Come together very quickly. They're all bound on the inside, so they're all finished off as all By Annie bags are. And I think there's 3 sizes in the pattern. So the quick zip cases, they're a good little pattern. Whip up a heap of those. The Catchall caddy, we have that one too. So this is a good one. Oops, got some patterns in the bottom. So this one's got pockets here on the inside. It's just like where you would sit your cups or something. So they're not actually attached at the bottom. They're just to sit things in separate sections. So you get sort of like segmented sections, and you can put different things in there, but they still sit on the bottom. The bottom's got a really firm base in it, so that sits lovely and firm. There's pockets on the outsides, pockets with a zip at the end. Shelley, I think you've got one of these. I think you were watching before and you got one of these. More pockets here and another open pocket on that end. And this sample's been made in a pixie dots and cotton linen canvasy sort of cat fabric, Catchall caddy. So that's a really handy one. It's also got these ones there if you want to pick it up. Oh, what just happened? Where did you go? Oh, it just disappeared off my screen. It's all right, we're back. Don't know what happened there. Bellow pockets. Is that what they're called, Tina? Thank you. Bellow pockets. There you go. Didn't know they were called that. You're off, Sue. Good night. Bye. And you're off to Fiona. Oh, sorry, you were saying goodbye to Fiona. Okay. Okay. All right. So that is the Catchall caddy. So you can see we're a bit of a by Annie fans here. I do know Annie. I've known her for years, and she makes really great patterns. So hence we've got them. The Day Tripper, Joe made this. No, I made this one actually. I made this one. So that's the crossbody bag. So it's like a shoulder bag. It's got adjustable straps on it. It's got a big zipper at the front here. And then it actually zips closed there. So to close, you don't lose anything. And it also has a pocket inside to drop your phone in so it's not lost down the bottom of your bag, or you might put it in the front zipper pocket. So that's the Day Tripper. So it's like a handbag for a day trip. I think it's a really good size. I did that for a Think Pink project a couple of years ago when I was as part of the breast cancer Think Pink campaign, which I've done for the last 4 or 5 years with By Annie, but I haven't heard about this year's. Maybe they're not running it. So that was my sample that year, and we had a bit of a promotion on. So that is the Day Tripper bag. And then we have Stash and Dash. And I think from memory, this was the very first sample that I made of By Annie's, maybe. So it's a little roll-up bag. It's fairly tiny, so it's good for traveling. I've got, thread and needles and a bit of best press in there, but you could use it for toiletries or jewelry or anything. So there's 1 pocket, 2 pockets, 3 pockets, and then it just rolls up like this. So Stash and Dash, sorry, not bash. And that I did make that a lot of years ago. Oh, and it's also got a clear pocket here. So you could also put something in there and you can see through it. But I know it's a lot of years ago because this was when this fabric range came out. And this was called, I don't know what it was called. I can't remember my own fabric names. But it was the second line I ever did, I think. Or the third maybe. It's the one that had the stitchery and fancy work panel. Fancy work box it was called. So that's the Stash and Dash. And that's the pattern for that. Okay, what else has she sent home? Running with Scissors. Now, we do have that sample, but it hasn't come home. So, because I know Joe made this one in Tilda Fabrics. And that's another, Chula shows that one too. She uses that one too. And that's just like a folder that zips closed and you can put all sorts of stuff in there. It's a bit like, it's a companion pattern to the Take a Stand tote bag. So maybe that sits over the Take a Stand. Maybe that's how it works. So this opens up and sits over. You'll have to make that Take a Stand. And then I think that's actually the Running with Scissors that's sitting over the top of the bag underneath. Anyone made that? Anyone done it? Okay. This one is, I think that's called Pocket Packers or something like that. And this was another one of the Think Pink samples that I did it's not called Think Pink, So Pink campaign once a year for breast cancer. And so there's different sizes in the pattern, but it's got a huge big pocket on that side. I just did this little paper pieced pink ribbon design on it. And then there's 3 pockets, or 4 really, because that one's in half. So there's 2 on this side that stops in the middle, and then 2 big pockets on there, and they just hang up from your hook. So I think they're called pocket packers. So they're really quick and simple and really handy project bags. And then one new one, again, we don't have a sample because we've not had this one before. It's called Flipping Out, and it's a little like a upright pencil case or storage container, and then you just roll it down to show what's inside. So flipping out is a new pattern that's just come in. And again, we'll have to get a sample made of that one by someone. Okay, Caroline's saying, running with scissors sits over the small take a stand. Thank you. That's what I've just worked out. Clearly, we need to make the take a stand because we've got the running with scissors. So we need to make a take a stand. But, you know, it's on the list. One day in that spare time. Hi, Elena. Welcome from on YouTube. All right, what else is in this little goodie bag of stuff? We have got a beautiful blooms. My camera's just moving a bit. A new charm pack. So 5-inch squares, beautiful blooms by Sherry and Chelsea. And what have we got? It's just in typical fresh spring colours from Moda. So, oh, that's very sweet. Sort of a little bit not dirty, but just a little bit muted. So it's a mustard rather than a yellow. And then like a rusty colour through to an apricot. Rosy, dusky rose pink. Sort of a pinky red. And we've got aqua. Greys. Fairly typical Moda sort of colours in that sort of fresh range. So that's Bountiful Blooms. So that would work with any of our Simply Charmed patterns. Now, for those that aren't in the Simply Charmed club, you can join. You can join anytime. We've just had one go out that you can catch up on. But the first year's worth of patterns are now available as downloads that you can just download the pattern and make a quilt in a day. And I will soon get around to putting up this year's so far. Hi, Anne. Did you go in today? We had a kit ready for you, I think. Jackie, hi. Robin, hello, Robin. Did you survive the weekend? Robin had a 21st on the weekend. I'm not sure how her head is. And hi, Robin. Robin with an E and Robin. Hi. Okay, so that's the Bountiful Blooms. Now, although I've talked about the wonderful Deco Bob, for years and years, we actually used the Superior Superbugs, which were a 60-weight poly thread. And what we used to sell in the tubes, and we used to sell them individually and on cones and everything. But there was a period after it got sold and things changed that we were unable to get these for probably at least 2 years. Probably COVID had something to do with it as well, and the prices all went up. Anyway, they seem to, just as we've changed everything to Wonderful, which is fine. We're happy to stay with them because I really like it. You'll be in tomorrow, Anne, okay. But they've just come back in stock, and I know people are still asking about them all the time because, again, it's that beautiful ring of colour. So we've just gotten, I think, 3 or 4 of these in. The price is higher now. I remember when we first started getting them years and years ago, they were about $69. Now they're $99, but that the dollar exchange rate doesn't help with that either. But still a perfect collection of 35 colours of Superbugs for all your applique English paper piecing, or use them in your bobbin of machine. A bobbin, a pre-wound bobbin, and I can tell you this from long arming because my long arm machine, which was just a second-hand one that I got, has the small standard domestic L-size bobbins. And if I'm quilting a quilt, sometimes if I wind a bobbin, it doesn't even make half a row. Whereas if I use a pre-wound, it goes 3 times longer. So it's amazing how much extra thread they get on one of these pre-wounds. So my sister tells me just suck it up and use the pre-wounds because otherwise I'd be changing, well, you're changing bobbins all the time, and it runs out and you're not there and you have to restart and all the rest of it. Okay, and let me see. You may have noticed that we've been getting more and more bag parts and accessories in since Tina started doing classes, and people are getting right into bags down here. So today I got some strapping a couple of weeks ago, but it was narrower. This is a little bit wider, so this is 32 mil. And because we've got a lovely sample in the shop that Tina made or a treat bag, I think, and she used like a magenta-y sort of bag strapping on it with a fabric strap over the top, which looks amazing. So people, of course, were wanting it. So that's arrived. That's on the website. Also, we've got, and I've got this to try it. I can get it in more colours, but I was just checking the quality first. It's like a leather cording strap. I don't know where the start of it is. There it is. So just a fine leather cord. It was for a particular project, but I ended up finishing it with something else before it came. So now we've got it. Okay, so there's that leather cording, and it comes in lots of colours. So I'll see how we go, and if people want it, I can get the other colours. Okay, and then we've also got these little zipper end clamps, which are a bit cool. So the end of your zips, you know, where you usually put little fabric tabs over it, well, you can put these little metal ends over it, and they've just got little screws they screw in, and it just finishes off the end of your zipper tab so beautifully. So we've got gunmetal grey at the moment, but again, we can get more colours. I was just seeing how they looked, how they came first. And also, this was going to be for the same project. I wanted some bling on the ends. I can't tell you about the project, it's top secret. But these little cord, they go on the end of your cord. So like little toggles that go on end of your cords. If you're threading a cord through a drawstring or something like that, then these little things go on the end. So again, I've just got it in the gunmetal black because of getting the whole set then. Okay, so there's some new bag things. They're on the website, so you can see all those. I'll put the links up in a minute in the comments. And then I was naughty one night and went shopping and got all of these things just to try. So years ago, when I used to do under pattern press Monica Paul's patterns, she had a skirt pattern that used these big eyelets or grommets in them, and it was really hard to find them at the time, and you could find hang sell packs and that, and we did I made several of the skirts. Don't fit me anymore. Hi Susan, welcome. Anyway, I stumbled across them, so I went madly shopping and I bought lots and lots and lots. So I've been practicing a prototype this week of working out a bag to use them. But the ones I got are really quite big, and I probably should have gone a little bit smaller, so I'm reordering. I'm going shopping again, depending on what you can use them for, because the bag, I had to make it to scale, and the bag has just turned out giant to the point where actually you could put a small child in it, but still so useful, because all of this stuff I've just shown you, let me just switch over, was all downstairs today, and I had to bring it all up tonight, and I could fit the whole lot all into this one giant bag. So anyway, let me pack this all up down there and show you what I'm calling my very big bag. Now, a couple of weeks ago, hi Isabel, hi Elizabeth, were you in the shop today? I think you might have been, or maybe you were just talking to Joe. Bit late here, I've been watching a Colour K DVD, very young Helen, excellent info. That is so old, Elizabeth, and I have to tell you, I've never watched it. I've never been able to watch it. Maybe I should now, 15 years later. Yes, I was much younger. Anyway, so I was sort of designing in my head and working out this prototype, and it worked out to be really big, so it's called the really big bag. But a couple of weeks ago when I was showing you bags, someone asked if I had any of my own patterns that were big bags, and I said no, I don't, and they said, well, you should design one. I said okay, leave it with me. So although it wasn't intentional, it's a happy mistake, because now I have a very, very big bag. So as you can see, if I come back here, you can see how my very big bag is. Okay, so I had this fabric. I had a whole fabric range sitting in a box downstairs that I ordered for something and then forgot what I ordered it for. So it's I thought, well, I'll use that, because if it works, we can kit it up and we've got lots there. So it's this gorgeous sewing machine fabric, and then this has got all different stitches on it, and then my lining's got all pins, scattered pins on it, and it's using my grommets or my eyelets. Okay, so as I said, it's very big. See, you could fit a small child in there or a sewing machine, but really simple. You know, I don't like to have too many details and too much work. It needs to be made quickly and simply without too many technical details. So it actually is really simple. In fact, I wrote the pattern in the last half hour, while I was waiting to come live. So the pattern's pretty much done once I finish, and I've got to photograph it. So it's actually not too many working parts to it, fairly simple to come together, and I think it's pretty cool. But what I thought I would show you is I've left one eyelet out here. So I thought I would show you how I put that eyelet in a washing basket. It could be a washing basket. And then I've also left the handle unfinished so I can show you that. So it's big, but it's really cool. So first of all, I'm going to show you the eyelet, and hopefully you'll be able to see it. I'm going to switch back to overhead. All right. So I'm going to flatten it out here so you can see it. So here's my little eyelet set. And it's this, these ones are just plastic because I used the white to match the fabric. So they're all just plastic, actually. I don't think you probably can get metal ones somewhere, but the plastic ones are fine. And if you've anything that's going to get damp, you don't want metal to rust anyway. So you need to mark yourself a circle that's the size of halfway between that and that. Okay, so it needs to at least sit inside the inner ring there. So I got out my trusty nested circles and found, oh, it's stuck on here, found the one that suited, which in this case was the 2-inch circle, because see, that will be just, if I use the outside edge, it'll be just bigger than the center in there. And then I just used my blue washout pen once I'd measured as per the pattern where I want it to go, and I just drew a circle around it. Then you simply fold it in half so you can get a cut through all the layers, which I've already done. So I'm going to get my scissors in there, and now I need to cut around that circle. Now you've got a bit of leeway, so there's from there to there leeway. So if you're not perfectly exact, it's not the end of the world, but I'm going to have to twist this around to stand up just because it's in an awkward position to keep it on camera. And I'm holding all my 3 layers together because I don't want the fabrics to move. So because I'm cutting through 3 layers. What I didn't say is when I made this bag, I actually, the outside, I fused just a Helen to. So it's just got a lightweight stabilizer, or you could put an SF101. And it was the lining that I put my foam bag batting on. And I used the new Victorian Textiles version of foam bag batting, which doesn't look anything like Soft and Stable or the Bosal that we've been used to using, but it's also about a third of the price, and it still can sew through it. It's sew in. It's not fusible. It's sew in, but it's still lovely and stiff, and you could sew through it. So I used that batting, which I don't think is on the website yet, and I put that on the lining, spray basted and quilted it to the lining. So once I sat that inside, I had a beautiful stiff bag sitting up very nicely. Okay, I've got my handle. I got distracted there. So I'm going to put my bottom eyelet under there so it's all poking through, and then you just put your top one on and press until it clicks. And it's clicked on. And there it is, done. Okay, so yet another use for nested circles. Hi, Lorraine, welcome. Let's go back here. So you can see when I put the foam inside in, it just squared up and sat up my bag, so it sits up beautifully. Okay, but it's still nice and soft. All right, so that's the bag, but now let's see the handles. So I've made my handle, but I haven't put it right side out because I was going to show you the easy point and turner tool. I've shown you this before, but this is what I would have used to turn it. So I thought, hold on a minute, let's just hold on and I can show you how to do it. So it's the easy point and turner tool, and you just take your tube, which has been sewn right sides together, and you can use some fabric glue also. I'm not sure what you're referring to there, Amelia. You mean to put the foam onto the fabric? Probably. I just use 505 spray. Okay, so I've got my funny little turner tool here, if you haven't seen it before, and you just slide it all on. So this is about 60 inches of handle, because it needs to go all the way around the top edge of that bag, and that tells you how big that bag is, because I made it big. And then you just clamp the end of it in between the two, and then once you get it started, you just pull it all around to the other side. And just until I can get the end poking out. There we are. And then pull it out. And there's my tube. So it's good for really long tubes because you can get a lot on there. Okay, and there's my handle all turned to the right way. Now what I would do then obviously is press that nicely. Now I had some Helen fused onto that. You could, if you wanted it even stronger, you could now feed through, and you can do it with your Easy Point and turner too. You could feed through some bag strapping if you wanted it really firm, but I would press it normally. Okay, with my seam to the side. Then I'm going to switch cameras again because it's such a big bag. You need to be able to see it. So now I'm going to start feeding my handle through my grommets. And back out there. And then I'll finish this off by tucking that in and sewing it later. But for now, I'll just pin it. So then that should sit tight around the bag. When I pull my two handle straps up, my bag just pulls in like that and over my shoulder, and I can carry all of my stuff in that big bag. So it's very big, but it will work. So that is the very big bag, and once I photograph it and finish it tomorrow, the pattern will be available, and we can also do some kits and these gorgeous sewing fabrics as well. Okay, so that's my very big bag, and you learnt how to put eyelets in and how to turn a strap. It is a great big bag for stitching retreats. Lots of things. And if the next thing I'm going to show you, I'm binding a quilt, so I was going to show you the binding, but it's a really big quilt. And if I take it to Guild next week and I want to finish my binding, then I can fit the whole thing in there, probably plus a few more show and tells if I had them, but I don't think I have any. And it would all fit in this big bag. So I think that's pretty cool. Okay. One other big bag that I've made a long time ago, again, very simple, is just the Easy Peasy Tote. So, and that's just made out of 2.5 meters of fabric with some foam in it, and that comes together really quickly too. And that would be on the website, I think. We're actually giving the pattern for free when you bought the 2.5 meters of fabric, I think. But on the website, you'll just need to find that. That's the Easy Peasy Tote. Again, you know I like quick and easy, but oh so useful. So I quite often take that one to Guild with a whole quilt in it or whatever I'm working on, plus everything else. So that's a good one too. We don't have any of that fabric left though. I actually made that sample because that fabric hadn't moved and it was sitting on the shelf, and I said I'll make up a sample. Within 2 days we'd sold the whole bolt and couldn't do any more. So there we go. So the eyelets, see, I've got all those different colours. They're not on the website yet, and I'm now going to get some more sizes too, because the project that I originally wanted to make it can't be that big. Okay, Janie, come back on replay. That's all. Okay, so the only other thing I was going to show you is that I am binding a quilt It's not for anything. It was the mystery one I did for the girls, but I might as well get it finished. I'd like to get it finished. So I thought last night, well, I won't finish, and I'll just show you how I do my binding, just in case there's anyone who hasn't seen or known before, or you might just pick up a different way, or you might be able to tell me a different way. So I'm going back on to overhead, and I'm going to zoom in a bit. How far in will we go? There we are. I'll just go out a bit while I show you. So I sew my binding to the front and then turn it to the back, and I tend to just get my pin tin and pin around the whole edge of the quilt. So I just have a big like magnetic pin tin, and I pin the whole edge. If I run out of pins, that's all right. I go as far as I can, and then when I've got my way around to the open bit, I've got all my pins back and I start again. But in this case, even though it's a big quilt, I think I've got all the way around. So I pin it all, and I pin it so that it's meeting my stitch line. So in case you don't see, there's my stitch line from the front where I sewed it onto the front. We can't see that because it's a nice busy background fabric that you can't see the stitches in. So I make sure I pull over so that the fold is just covering the stitch line, and then it's all good to go. So although I use my binding, my pink clips all the time, I actually don't use them for binding because I feel that they just get in the way for me. They just get in the way. I'm usually doing this on my lap at night with Bentley on top of it, so that doesn't help. And then you use a thread that matches the binding fabric. Now, do as I say, not as I do, because I didn't want to get up and I only had a grey thread. So I'm using a blending thread, and if you can't see those stitches anyway. So again, if the stitch is correct, it doesn't really matter what colour it is, but to make it easier with a binding, match the binding, the thread to the binding, not to the backing, to the binding, because that's the part of the thread that you're going to see. Okay, so that is as far as I've gotten. Now, the stitch is basically, that I use, is basically my blind applique stitch. So let's go in a bit closer. So exactly the same stitch I've shown you to use for applique is what you use for the binding. Let's come down here. Pins do mean blood, Susan, and I actually got blood here last night and got that on something. But the clips, they're just, when I clip the whole edge at once, if I just used a few, I suppose, just worked at, 6 inches ahead of myself, probably the clips would be all right. But I like to clip it all down, and I just flick them off. And the pink clips are really big and strong. They're good for so many other things, but I just haven't managed the switch because I always use pins, and I've just stuck with pins. Okay, so my thread is coming up through the edge fold of the binding, straight back down, but just into the background fabric, and then slide along and catch the edge fold, pull straight up, pull it tight. So it's just the blind applique stitch. You can go a bit further apart, but if you give it that bit of a tug as you pull it up, then the stitch disappears into the weave of the fabric of the binding. You get to the pin, pull it out, and my thumb is just holding it in place so that the fold is just covering my stitch line. Now, it's important that from a judging point of view, that your binding is full. So really, if you're using a half-inch finished binding, and mine is actually a bit smaller, I cut this one at 2 1/4 instead of 2 1/2, so it was nice and tight. So it should be a ½ inch from your stitch line to the edge of the batting. And this is a ½ inch. That means when I sewed it onto the front, I sewed it equal with the edge of my quilt top, but I kept a ½ inch of batting outside there when I trimmed it, so that my binding would be full and not empty. So if you're doing competitions or exhibitions, then that is one of the things that the judges will look for. Your bindings need to be nice and plump and full, not just fabric on fabric. They need to have the batting in it as well. So my binding goes raw edges together with my quilt top, but I leave a ½ inch of the batting and backing outside. Okay, now because this is a bit smaller, it's a bit tight, you can see here that it's actually folded that over. I've just pulled it over and I've got a really nice fat binding, but sometimes if it's too thick, then I trim it back a little bit, particularly at the corners. So let's continue on. I don't know that I'm going to make it to the corner unless you want to watch me stitch all night. but I was going to show you a corner so I could jump up there in a minute. Jump ahead. So straight down, move along, oops, and pull it tight, not so tight that you break the thread like I just did. I'll go back and fix that later. I'm going to get some more thread and go to the corner. Oh, Bentley is eating something. Okay, knot. Let's come to the corner. Okay, so when I've got to my corner, I've pulled over to my, oops, not on the camera. Okay, so I've pulled over to my thread and I want to go flat all the way to the end like that as far as I can and just keep it going out straight. So not so it curls around like that, otherwise you get a curved corner. So keep it straight all the way to the end and put a pin right in there. Turn over and just make sure that you've got a nice mitered fold on that side. Sometimes it pulls around like that and it's not going direct from the corner out. So you just want to sort of push that into position so that your miter fold is going straight out to the corner and you've got a nice sharp 90-degree point there. Then when you turn it back, you need to fold that in right from that point until it meets exactly the edge in that direction. And you can ease that around a little bit. So we've got a nice miter out there. Now I trim off a bit of the batting at the corner just so I haven't got quite as much bulk, so I can get a nice, whoops, I've got it so zoomed in I can't get there. So we want that join, that fold to go straight out, and we want that fold to go straight out. Okay, so I've got my thread. Just going to come in and start here. I'm on camera. When I pick up that background fabric, I make sure that I'm on the outside edge of my stitch line so that no stitches are going to show. Am I staying on camera? Okay, straight down, move along. Straight down, move along. Right, so in the corner, I need to put a stitch right in where my folded point meets the other edge. So from there to there, I've got a perfect right angle and my fold is meeting exactly on the edge of the other one. And then just put another stitch straight in that corner to lock it down. Then I come up and put 3 or 4 stitches along that mitered corner so that it is sewn. It is not just loose anymore, it's sewn. On a little tiny one like this, I generally don't bother if it's not an exhibition one, but you should then also go to the other side and stitch this little seam down. Okay. And that's where a blending thread's good. Then you're going to take your needle back to the back. And I'm back out at my point here. I can tuck that in and start stitching along in the new direction. Now, of course, that only works nicely if when you've sewn your binding on, that you've done a nice mitered join at the corners. But I do have some tutorials on a Toots page on the website on how to stitch a mitered corner, a couple of different ways. But if you stitched it nicely, then it's going to turn and fold nicely. Oh, there you go. Just pricked myself. It wasn't with the pin. It was with the needle, actually. Okay. So that is my binding tips. Probably don't need to watch me sew anymore. That's my sewing for tonight to try and finish that one off. Let's come back here. Maybe you picked up a couple of things. Maybe you didn't. Maybe you've got some tips for me. You might have, yeah, some tips for me. Hair clips to hold binding in place. Yes. There used to actually be they were like hair clips sold as binding clips, but they pretty much were like hair clips. So yeah. Anyway, if you picked up a hint and a tip there, that's good. If not, well, it doesn't matter. You got to watch me stitch my binding on. I'll say hi to Mum just in case she's remembered to watch tonight. So I remember to do that. And other than that, I think that's all I've got to show you. I don't think there's anything I've forgotten, has there, Jo? Oh, there was only one other thing. Any ideas? So when I made my very big bag, I had to cut the corners out. So I've got these 4 gorgeous squares with batting on the back that I should make into something because, you know, you can't waste things. Any ideas on what I can make these into? They might just be a little coaster. I might apply a little heart on it, and it could be a little postcard or something. Anyway, let's see if I get around to doing something next week with those 4 corners because they're too good to waste. It's all that nice fabric with lovely quilted, lovely fabric on the front of it and the foam on the back. So yes, hopefully those tips might have a box with a coloured vase. Heat pads, coasters. I thought coasters, heat pads. Yeah, I don't know. We'll work with that. No FOB here. No freight on board. No FOB. I'm not sure. Oh, thread bin. Yeah, good. 4. I'd need an extra one. But I would have my other corners actually that I cut. This was out of the lining, so I would have the 4 corners that I cut out of the outer bag somewhere. Let me find those. Anyway, we'll see if I come up with something for next week because we can't waste these things. I've still got to make all my L and hair blocks into something. That was my first thought, Anne. Just a mug mat for your coffee cup. But and it would be washable, so you could do that. Maybe I will. It could be something, I'm sure. All right, now we have to draw our lolly jar or our lotto jar. If you're new here and you didn't hear me at the beginning, the little jar just down there in the corner of your screen there is our lotto jar. And every time you've made... Oh, fear of binding. Excellent. Okay. Good. FOB, fear of binding. Sorry, my brain wasn't on that. Sorry. By the time the comments come through, I've moved on in the conversation. Anyway, so our lotto jar in the corner, every time you make a comment, you get a little entry, a little floats down, a little bubble floats down into that jar. And now at the end, I draw a random winner out of the jar because you've been so nice to chat to me, so I don't feel like I'm chatting to a blank screen into the ether and no one's out there watching me. And remember, tonight's prize is going to be the rest of my applique pack and EPP pack for the Owl and Hair block of the month that you can either carry on and use and make the blocks if you've got the patterns, or you can just play with them and make up your own little blocks like I did with what's left. I mean, I've hardly used any compared to what's in there, so there's heaps left in there still. So let's draw the winner. I just need to hide this comment out of the way because it's on my screen, it's really small and it's hard to see. Let me see if I can see it up there. Pamela Joyce. I saw that pop up. Pamela Joyce, are you still here? Hi, Carlene. I didn't even know you were there. Pamela Joyce, are you still here? Are you still with us or you've given up and left? If you're still here, send Jo a message with your email and your details so we can send. Oh, what I need to do is actually put all the links in for you before we go. Me too, Meredith. I actually don't mind sewing a binding at all because redraw. Why am I redrawing? Because she's not here, Steph. She's gone. She didn't hang in there with me. Yeah, I like doing the binding too, exactly for that reason, because you know you're nearly to the end and afterwards you've got a finished product. So I'm just putting the links to a lot of the things I showed you tonight. If you're interested, you can pop straight into them, pop them in your basket. Pamela, if you're here, if you want anything, place an order and we'll throw your prize in with it. Otherwise, contact Jo and with your details so we can get it in the mail to you. I didn't actually even see Pamela comment. I must have missed that comment while I had my head down demonstrating. Any other comments I've missed? Chris Todd, did you have a pattern for your big bag? My very big bag. Oh, it would be very good, great in your waterproof fabric, Helen. Yes, it would be very nice in that fabric too. Chris, yes, I've written it, but I have to photograph it, and I had to finish it tonight. I couldn't finish it today to photograph it because I wanted to save the bits to demonstrate for you, so it's not quite finished, but the pattern's written. It's really quite simple, so it's not a huge pattern, and I just have to photograph it and do the cover, and we can probably print them tomorrow and get it up on the website and get the fabrics in to cut some kits. So if you want the same fabrics, obviously it's pretty easy and there's not much to it, but it does take a bit of fabric because it's a very big bag. But I think it's a great bag. All right, I don't think I've missed too many comments there. So I'm starting again with that was my prototype, and it didn't work out anything how it needed to for what I needed it for. So I'm starting another version tomorrow, and it will be it's all right. You make all these prototypes and you learn things along the way. It worked, but just not how I thought it was going to work. Hi, Andrea. Yes, you'll have to watch the replay. And I think it's a cool, very big bag. And we've just called it the very big bag. I think I could put Bentley in it quite easily and carry him around in it. All right, that's it for me tonight. I'm just raving about nothing now, but thanks for joining in. Thanks for coming to chat to me on a Thursday night, and all going well as far as I know. I'll be here next week. Hope maybe with some flying geese step-by-steps, and if there's anything else you want to see, just drop me a message during the week. Love the name, Steph. The hardest thing is thinking out names, and I thought that was a very simple name that I wouldn't forget. All right, night everyone. Bye.